There are people who are so desperate for power, who are so desperate to take control of government so that it can take control of its resources, that they are willing to put the future of the country at risk. That's right, the nation's children. They are so desperate to be in power that they're willing to put our children at risk to score political points. And when they talk about all bus and wanna stand up in the audience and cheer, I want you to remember that their children drive in luxury vehicles to school and their drivers pick them up in the afternoon. Them don't know nothing about firewall. Them never sit down in the front seat on the handbrake with an adult to the left and the driver to the right. And when it get bad at evening, come down 4 or 5 away have to pack up in the trunk so we can make it home. Praying to God we make it home safely. For them pitney, no know one name bus park, much less bus stop. The pro boxes they're proposing to put your children in at risk, their children won't take them. I want to stand up in the audience and cheer and scream. Underneath people comments that talk about all bus. Understand that their children won't be subjected to it.
Hello fellow patriots and you all lovely people tuning in. Welcome back to another vital episode of my YouTube channel. This is the Diaspora Review and I'm your host, the one and only Sam, and I'm genuinely thrilled to have you all here today. So before we dive into our today's crucial discussion, I have 3 quick and yet incredibly powerful requests for you to do for me. These actions truly help us reach more people and amplify this important conversation. So if you could kindly take a moment to like this video, give it a big thumbs up if you find value in what you're doing here. Second, share it with your friends and family and on your social media. Let us spread this message far and wide. And third, if you haven't already, please subscribe the channel and hit that notification bell on so you don't miss any of our future episodes, because your support means the world to us. Now, for today's topic, we are delving into some deeply felt sentiments from our fellow Jamaicans. These are the voices of the people who believe that the People's National Party, PNP, currently led by Mark Golding and his counterpart Peter Banting, does not genuinely have the best interest of the Jamaican people at heart. It's a perspective rooted in a profound frustration with the political system, where some perceive politicians as being driven, are being driven by a relentless hunger for power, even to the extent of risking the very future of the Jamaican nation and the well-being of its children. Many of these compatriots feel a growing disconnect between the comfortable, often privileged backgrounds of some of these political leaders and the daily grind faced by ordinary Jamaican citizens. They are talking about the real-world struggles of getting to work, ensuring their children have safe transport to school, and simply navigating the challenges of everyday life. This is not just about policy, it is about a perceived empathy gap. The overwhelming message is a passionate call to action. The ballot box is your most potent tool. It is about ensuring that the country's future is not decided by those who are ill-informed, manipulated, or swayed by blind party loyalty. It is about making your voices heard and loud and clear. So we are also going to explore a very specific and concerning critique regarding proposed changes to the Jamaican school transportation system. Many are alarmed by the idea of pro boxes or old buses being introduced to the Jamaican children. There is a palpable sense of anger and injustice when considering that the children of policymakers who are advocating for these changes often enjoy the luxury of private and safe transportation, completely shielded from these very conditions being imposed on others. Concerns about safety, reliability, and communication are paramount. That the thought of parents and not knowing where their children are is simply unacceptable. This truly conveys a sense of inequity and a profound disconnect between those making decisions and the public they are meant to serve. Let us watch these full clips that illustrate these points. These points, and then I'll be back with deeper analysis and my further commentary. Stay tuned. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. I'll be back.
And understand that when an election is called, if we do not vote, the people who stood at Hero Circle with placards, with no knowledge as to what was on them and no knowledge or understanding of the issues they were protesting for, they are the people who will vote for us. The people who stood in the audience, many of whom have children and don't know how they're going to reach school the next September morning. Many of whom have children who have had difficulty getting home. Many of whom have had issues getting transportation to go to school for various reasons. Many of whom have realities that do not in any way, shape, or form compare to the realities of the people who stood on the platform, who are from Kapanaris families. So their realities are not the same. But they are so blinded by political loyalties. They stood there and blew them vuvuzela for the nonsense that was being uttered by the politicians in front of them. If we don't vote, they are the people who are going to vote for us. They can make a phone call or send a text to say, how far away are you? But they don't think you deserve to know. They don't think your children deserve reliable, durable, safe transportation home. You're not supposed to know where you're picking there and why they're not reach home yet. But they can know. Them can call their driver. They didn't live the realities you live, and their children don't live the realities your children live. But that is what...
Great people of the island, welcome back everyone. After watching those clips, it is clear that these sentiments expressed resonate deeply with so many Jamaicans. What we're witnessing is a profound sense of disillusionment and a fervent warning about the potential consequence of political apathy, particularly when it comes to the simply yet crucial act of voting. Well, the primary concern highlighted is the very risk to our nation's future and most poignantly to our children. The voices we heard speak of individuals who are desperate for power, willing to jeopardize the country's trajectory, including the fundamental right to a quality education and the overall well-being of our youth. The implication is stark. Political decisions made by a leadership perceived as detached or self-serving could directly undermine the educational pathways and safety of our next generation. This is not just about it's not just about theoretical. It touches on the very fabric of our society and the promise we owe to our children. Another significant danger underscored is the potential for governance by misinformed or blindly loyal voters. If the majority of our citizens don't engage, if they don't turn out to vote, then the electorate outcomes risk being determined by individuals described as having no knowledge as to what was their placards. As to what was on their placards, or no understanding of the issues they were protesting for. These individuals are the comment these speakers are suggesting are so blinded by political loyalties that they will unquestioningly support the nonsense that was being uttered by these politicians. This paints a vivid picture of a perilous cycle. A lack of voter engagement can lead to a government elected by those who are either uninformed about critical nations or driven solely by a partisan loyalty that overrides rational assessment. The warning is clear. If we don't vote, we risk being governed by those who may not truly serve our best interests or the best interests of our children. These speakers also illuminate how differing societal realities profoundly influence voter behavior and political engagement. There is a stark contrast drawn between the daily lives of many ordinary citizens and the realities of the people who stood on the platform, who are from capitalist families, a term often used to denote privilege or elite backgrounds, For many in our audience, daily life involves navigating challenges related to school transportation and uncertain future for their children. These are vastly different concerns from those who, by virtue of their background, are shielded from struggles. Right? So, despite all these divergent realities, the pervasive influence of political loyalty is undeniable. The critic suggests that some individuals, despite facing profound personal challenges and hearing what it is perceived as nonsense from politicians, remain so blinded by political loyalties that they will stand in support, even blowing vuvuzelas for rhetoric that doesn't genuinely address their immediate circumstances. This raises a critical question: how can we encourage a more critical assessment of political messages, especially when immediate survival or ingrained loyalty might overshadow a clear understanding of these issues? Okay. The inherent risk from uninformed voting is uninformed voting is a recurring theme. The speakers have warned that if those who lack comprehensive information or who are swayed by an unquestioning loyalty are the primary voters, it directly puts the future of the country at risk, and tragically our children at risk. This implies that a lack of understanding, perhaps due to the demanding focus on day-to-day survival or being swayed by emotional appeals, can lead to electoral choices that are ultimately detrimental to the nation's long-term prosperity. Finally, there is the chilling observation of individuals so desperate for power that they are willing to jeopardize the nation's future and its children for mere political points. This highlights a perceived fundamental disconnect where these motivations of politicians for power may exploit or outright disregard the genuine struggles and needs of the very citizens they claim to represent. Okay, moving deeper into the issue, these speakers powerfully articulated why individuals might prioritize political loyalty over their own self-interest. They are blinded by the political loyalties, right? This deep-seated allegiance compels them to support politicians and their rhetoric, even when that rhetoric is perceived as nonsense. Despite facing odious personal realities, struggling with their children's schooling, challenging commutes, or unreliable transportation, and despite the clear disparity between their lives and those of the Capanaries families on the political platform, this unwavering loyalty persists. They are depicted as actively supporting the nonsense being uttered, indicating that for some, loyalty trumps critical judgment and even their own pressing personal struggles. Right. So, the discussion around personal access to transportation serves as a potent microscope of these broader societal inequalities, impacting safety, convenience, and daily life in dramatically different ways. For those with access to luxury vehicles and personal drivers, transportation is portrayed as reliable, durable, safe transportation home. Their children are insulated from the risks and discomforts faced by the majority. This contrasts sharply with the reliance on public or shared transportation, often described as all buses or proboxes, which carry significant safety concerns. The vivid collection of packing up in the trunk so we can make it, so we can make it home, praying to God we make it home safely, underscores the inherent dangers and profound lack of security experienced by many people. So, in terms of convenience, private vehicles users enjoy complete control. A simply phone call or text to say how far away are you to their drivers ensures real-time tracking and coordination. However, for those dependent on public transport, there is a painful lack of information and convenience. Parents are not supposed to know where you are your picnic and why they have not reached home yet, creating an agonizing uncertainty. The inconvenience of long waits implied by when it gets bad at evening, come down 4-5 away, further exacerbates daily like it exacerbates in daily life. The daily realities are poles apart. Children of the privileged drive in luxury vehicles to school, and their drivers pick them up in the afternoon. They don't know nothing about firewall, bus park, much less bus stop, or the experience of being in the front seat upon the handbrake. Their lives are entirely shielded. Conversely, daily life for those dependent on public transport is fraught with constant anxiety about their children's safety during commutes, grappling with the very real prospect of proboxes putting their children at risk. The statement, "they didn't live the realities you live," and "their children don't live the realities your children live," powerfully escapulates these are profound socioeconomic and experimental divide. So, good people, as we come to an end of this video, what have you learned from this? Do you think that the PNP, from what they have been saying, do you think that they have their ears on the ground? Do you think that they understand the common Jamaican citizens? Because if the government comes up with a project whereby it is mainly aimed to support children, especially from the vulnerable or the unfortunate, the less fortunate families, and you see the PNP trashing it, then it clearly shows that they don't have the people's interest at heart. So, guys, I don't know what you think about this, but let me know in the comments. Kindly keep your comments respectfully. Like this video, share this video, turn on post notifications, and make sure you subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. That's me, your boy for Day Sam, and this is the Diaspora View. Peace out.